All right, so this is the Easthampton Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. It is Thursday, September 24th, and it is 6:10 p.m. Did everyone get the agenda that I emailed out?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So can we don't usually operate with a quorum. Can we vote on the minutes, Jamie, or do we need to wait?
So what do we just found out that Coney's not technically a member right now because she didn't re-up. So what does that bring us for membership?
That would just leave Kate and Ken and the
5.
three.
So we have a quorum.
Yeah.
Great, so then we can vote.
Great.
I
Did everyone have
will.
a chance to look at the minutes from July?
Yes.
I did because I wrote them.
Yes, you did.
I'll make a motion, sorry.
I think I have to make the motion, or Brad. I'm not sure you can officially make a motion.
Nope.
That's all right.
I was just
I
excited.
love your enthusiasm, though. All right. I will make a motion to accept the minutes of the July meeting. Brad, do you want a second?
I do want a second.
Awesome.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Great. So the minutes from July are approved. I will send them to Barbara and she will post them on the website so people can read them.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Jamie, do you want to give an update about the housing production plan draft?
Yep. So we were planning to have the consultant come and speak to everyone today. We're hoping to get the draft 2 weeks ago, have a chance to review it, provide comments, get a second draft, provide the second draft to the partnership a week ago, and then have everyone review it. We're still waiting for the first draft from the consultant, so we're pushing everything back a month as far as looking at the draft and coming to the housing partnership to review it. We are looking at currently, so the next housing partnership meeting would be October 22nd. And assuming that it is good at that point and everyone's happy with it, we'll be going to City Council on November 4th to hold a public meeting on the housing production plan to get the council's approval, and then following with the mayor's vote and submission to the state. So that's the tentative schedule. So if everyone wants to put that November 4th meeting, the public hearing would start at 6:15.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes.
Can I ask you a favor? Because I'm taking minutes.
Yes.
Will you just lay that timeline out one more time for me? Because I was catching up.
Yep. So October 22nd, we anticipate having the consultant come to the housing partnership meeting.
Okay.
And we're gonna hopefully get drafts to everyone at least a week in advance of that meeting. And then, like I said, assuming that the housing partnership is good with the draft, we'll be going to City Council on November 4th for the public meeting piece of it. And then they'll make their approval that night, and the mayor would probably follow soon thereafter. Then we'll submit to the state for their approval. So,
Great, thank you.
Jamie, will this be like a standalone document, or will it be part of the larger housing market needs document?
This is a standalone document. It is just for the housing production plan. Okay. The housing needs assessment and market study the housing needs assessment will be part of the housing production plan because that's a component of it, but the market study and the zoning recommendations and things like that, which are additional to the housing production plan, won't actually be in that plan. That'll be a separate document.
Okay.
And that'll take a little bit longer, but the idea was because the housing production plan expires the end of October, we're trying to get approval to the state as quickly as possible. Not because we have any 40B projects that we're trying to like deny, but because we don't get, if while the housing production plan is not in effect, any housing units that are created don't count to satisfying the goals that we've determined. So
Right.
it's it would still, you know, an affordable housing unit would still count towards the
Subsidized
LIP,
inventory list.
the subsidized housing inventory, but it wouldn't count towards the satisfying the goals of the housing production plan.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Okay.
keep your I mean, I'm sure everyone's on their emails all the time anyway, so we'll send that out as soon as we get a draft ready from the consultant.
Great. One thing's kind of sort of not sort of related to this is I went to the planning board meeting last week before, about that project on Loudville.
Oh yeah.
18 condo units. So Jeff wanted me to listen in, and what's sort of fun about Zoom is that like I could make dinner and listen to the planning board meeting at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was interesting, I mean, there was some opposition to the project, you know, it's not in the right neighborhood, you know, traffic. But there were two things that kind of stood out to me that to me felt like, you know, sort of related to the housing market study, maybe a little to the housing production plan, but just kind of like general education awareness and for the community. So the consultant that the developer owner hired, you know, was talking about how they were talking about the price point for the condos. So are they 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms? That part I missed. They're, you know, like duplex units, and they have a garage and a first floor master. And they were talking about the price point, and he was estimating that it was going to be between like 350 and 400,000.
Wow.
And he said, and the people were, you know, there had been some comments about just like the density of the project, which is sort of funny to me because it's only 18 units.
Right.
And he said, you know, they're going to be, it's not an affordable housing project. They're going to be really nice. And so I like email like Jeff on the side, you know, because like to me, like that's part of the
Education.
Yeah, and when people say things like that in public meetings, it just continues to perpetuate the, oh, if it was affordable housing, it would not be nice.
Right.
You know, and so I just, to me, it felt like something that we should flag, like maybe for Judy, or just like to put on our list about like education and awareness. And I mean, I'm not faulting the consultant. I think he was, you know, he's trying to sell it to the demographic of people that he think want to hear those things. So I understand. But then the other thing he said was, again, they're talking about traffic, and he said, well, you know, they would be most likely be mature buyers because, and so, you know, oh, you know, people with kids wouldn't want to live there because, you know, they're duplexes, and so probably it would be more mature buyers, even though it's not an age restricted property. And again, it's just like, well, it just felt really anti-family to me. Like if they're 2 or 3 bedroom condos, like why wouldn't a family want to live there, especially if they're $400,000?
Yeah.
So it was like the kind of thing that I feel like people say, and it just becomes things that like you think that that's what people want to hear to make your project go through, and it.
Right.
Will there be another opportunity to talk to, like, is that going to go back to the planning board? What happened? What was the outcome?
My understanding was it was continued, I think, to the October 6th planning board meeting.
So is it a public hearing or something?
It's still a public hearing. The public hearing
Okay.
was continued. But I didn't get the sense that they had, they were still meeting about it. I didn't go to that meeting. So maybe Jenna, do you have more?
I didn't stay the whole time. I think it was
Okay.
like 8 o'clock and I got off. I don't remember, or 7 o'clock. I think the kids were coming home from soccer practice. But, and I mean, I waffled like, should I say something? But it's not like I don't oppose the project. I mean, I think we need housing. And so whether it's 18 units of market rate housing or not, it doesn't, like, that's all a good thing. But it's just like that language that I feel like is part of what I hope that we sort of talk more about as a community, because
Well, that's why I was wondering if there was another opportunity to just go, and if that comes around again, to just say, everyone deserves safe, fair, affordable, nice, affordable to them, nice housing, no matter what their income level is. And you could say, I mean, that could be said in support of the project too.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the reach isn't the same as what you're talking about, Jana, because it's just about who's in the room, but.
Right. And it's just, it was like the planning board and like 2 neighbors.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but I hear you. It is just so frustrating to hear that kind of language.
Yep.
Who was the consultant?
Levesque.
Is that
Oh,
who our former planner, Jess Allen, will be working for in her new job?
I did not know that.
Yes, I believe that is true.
Maybe it's like Rob, begins with an L,
Yeah.
like Levesque.
Yeah, I think it is Rob
Yeah.
Levesque. Yeah.
Rob Levesque and Associates. So
Yeah.
they do. I mean, they're doing a lot right now. They're really busy. They've done, they're involved in the 39 and 41 O'Neill Street project. They're involved with the MassWorks project behind the Pleasant Street Mills, and then MassWorks projects for the One Ferry Street. And
I think they're also doing they're doing the Dunkin' Donuts project on
Right.
the end of East Street as well.
yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. There's a Coleman Road self-storage thing that they're involved in.
It's crazy.
They're
They're
based in
everywhere.
Westfield, and they have a lot of projects right now in Easthampton. So,
And again, I think he's saying what he thinks people want to hear. And so I
Yeah.
think the issue to me is like figuring out as a community, is that what we want to, like, how do we talk about how maybe that's not what we want to hear?
Yep.
Or,
Yep.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, and, that's why I think anytime there's an opportunity to just gently bring points up in places where, to address them, and it's not a bad idea.
I think he would be totally open and receptive to it too. I mean, I don't know him personally, but just from sitting in on different meetings that he's been in, I mean, he's a business guy, but he seems really compassionate, and he wants to do the right thing. So I'm sure that feedback would be well received.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, and if we have, Jess is his new, I just looked this up on LinkedIn. So she's the new permitting project manager. So it's possible she'll be at these kinds of meetings as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's exciting for her. But yeah, I do think that there might be opportunities in the housing production plan to sort of address some of the stigmas of affordable units, and I think we have this long history of like the really super high rise, super dense apartment complexes built by the federal government that just like, that's what people think of when they think of affordable housing. They're not thinking of Parsons Village, which you drive by that. I mean, it looks nicer than the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah, it really is.
Uh-huh.
Or, the way that our zoning states that like when you're doing a mixed use project, that the affordable units have to be built at the same level as the non-affordable units. And, so it's not, I think the perception is clearly not true. So it might be worthwhile if someone wants to write a email to the planning board or to Rob.
Right. And I think, COVID is obviously affecting our ability on both the housing production plan and the housing market study to have like forums and like bigger community conversations where these kinds of things, might come up. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
All right, you want to talk about rental assistance? Do you want me to recuse myself?
I don't think we're going to get into anything that would get to that level that you need to recuse yourself. So we are trying to re-release the RFP. I spoke with some folks and have made some proposed changes to the RFP, and we're looking to re-release it soon. But I was just hoping to hear back some more comments from that subgroup of people that were working on it in the Housing Partnership, or at the minimum, just Jackie. I just heard back from Jeff about it earlier this week. So once we get those final comments and changes, we'll re-release it and notify the same group of people that had sent out prior. Hopefully we get some responses.
Yeah. Jamie, do you know if anyone, so I had done some preliminary outreach, and so had Kate, to some of the landlords in the area,
Yes.
just to ask about need. Has anybody done another round of outreach to them just to say what is available to their tenants?
No, but I did get a number of inquiries regarding the program.
Mm-hmm.
And I responded to folks with, ours is coming, but in the meantime, here's Raft, here's Irma, and, here's some other resources. You can try Valley, not Valley, you can try Community Action and Wayfinders.
Okay, because I know especially in particular, the Patel family was really concerned about having people who couldn't pay rent. So
yeah. So I think I did communicate with. Let's see.
I think if the eviction moratorium ends next month, which it sounds like it might, then that will also, I think, I think some tenants haven't really felt very urgent because they're not getting notices from their landlord, but that could start changing really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't hear from the Patels directly. I did hear, no, that's not true. I emailed with their
attorney.
I don't know if it was their attorney or it was an office staff, and add them to the list, and they'll be notified when the applications are available. But I do think that the moratorium is supposed to end on October 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that there's still some federal moratorium, but that might just be on the federal, like on properties that are receiving federal funds. I'm not sure how they all layer together.
Not that, I guess I'm not that familiar with it. What I've heard is that it's different and it's for a narrower group of people. So maybe it is just if you live in a building with federal money, or I know the tenants have to fill out some kind of form.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it is that you have to have a COVID related loss, whereas the Massachusetts one, it was just, basically for everybody.
Right.
We should actually look that up though.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that we're going to see the moratorium extended again. I don't know what's been going on at the state level, but I do know that there was a lot of pushback by property owners. And my guess is that there'll be, if it is continued, that it'll be less far reaching. So we're trying to get the program out. It looks like if the timeline would be, let's see. I don't, trying to see what happened to that email. Of course, I can never find emails when I'm looking for them.
That's how it works. So today's the 24th. Do you think if we got enough feedback, it would be able to go out like around October 1?
Yeah, it's the trick though is the how long when we need to get things to the state for the goods and services RFP, like there's combis, goods and services. There's we have to report it, so it takes about a week in advance. So I think the idea would be if we place the ads starting next week, it would go out on, to be available on October 7th, and the responses would be due on October 21st. And that would be the minimum timeline. So, other contracts and stuff like that. So we are behind where we want to be, and it would be after the moratorium.
Yeah.
But if at least at that point in time, we knew that we had applicants and we could start in the process of contracting, then we could at least give a heads up to landlords, and they might be willing to not start eviction processes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think the eviction process too is going to take a really long time because housing court, I don't even know I'm sure they're not going to operate like they were. And so, if you send a notice to quit and you wait 30 days and then you send the court summons, you might get a court date in like February.
Right.
So, I think it's going to take a long time for people to actually get physically to housing court. So I think it's okay. Like, I don't think that it's not like everyone's going to get evicted in December. I don't think, because it just takes, under normal circumstances, it takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
that's when housing court could be like packed to the gills and people are all sitting there together. And that's definitely not going to happen.
Right.
Right.
And there are only so many court days between November and December anyways. So, yeah.
Okay.
And they only do it once a week in Hampshire County. So,
okay.
housing court is only on Mondays or Fridays in Hadley. So
Okay.
I think it's going to take a long time.
Okay.
So on that note, before I forget, Dina Fine, who's the judge of housing court, reached out to me in July because I've known her and her husband for 20 years, just to say she introduced me over email to the clerk of the court, and he's they're very interested in finding out, when we have this money available and who's dealing with it. So I'll make sure to circle back to them once we know.
Great.
Is that something that they're looking to provide as a resource to people that are coming into the court?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Yep. Because that's what they like to do, is help people.
Right. Was there any update on the status of that eviction counseling law, the eviction? Do you remember we signed on to it a couple months ago? Well, not a couple months, it must have been March or February. There was a right to counsel and a eviction, getting the records cleared after a certain amount of time. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do remember what you're talking about. I don't know. I haven't heard an update. I know CHAPA is filing some kind of comprehensive bill that also includes right to counsel. I don't think that it passed.
Okay.
I do know that Community Legal Aid is hiring a new case manager kind of specifically for housing court. So I think that that will help sort of beef up their capacity to help people. You know, they usually have kind of like 1 or 1.5 attorneys dedicated to housing. And I think this person would be kind of, you know, even in addition to that. So.
Is this for our county or over near Boston?
That for legal aid, that would be our Western Mass counties.
Okay, all right, good. I was just going to say if we knew of anybody that would be able to be like a case manager or an advocate on those court days for eviction to kind of catch people, you know, to see what we can do to help. But if there's going to be someone there, then that's good.
I mean, I think this is going to be interesting to see what housing court looks like, because pre-COVID, you know, someone from RAFT would have been there, legal aid would have been there, tenancy preservation would have been there. Sometimes community action was there. So oftentimes there were a lot of providers that were there.
Yep.
So I have a call with Jen Derringer next week from legal aid. So I am kind of curious, like what housing court's going to look like.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, I know community action's not planning to go in person anywhere. And so I do kind of wonder, like, does that fall then to the court, to the clerk to kind of know, or are there some providers in? So I can ask her that, because I do think that, you know, could be put tenants at a real disadvantage if, particularly tenants who may not have ever been in housing court before.
Right. Yeah.
They just need to have several computer terminals with the Look for Help website up.
Yeah.
And then links to all the resources that are there.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good partnership, actually, Jana.
Yeah.
Maybe the court would provide some support for keeping that website up to date.
What is that website?
That would be nice.
It's called, here, I'll drop it in the chat. It's a project that Community Action's been working on with some partners, so that people can find all kinds of resources in Western Mass. It's really, really robust, actually.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's a public resource directory. So it's like kind of like Google kind of, but for our region. And there's some other like some other places they're using, like Aunt Bertha. I don't know if you've heard of that. Or there's one called 413 Cares, which is sort of more Hampden County focused. But Look for Help is really focused on Hampshire, Franklin, North Quabbin, and then a little bit of Berkshire.
Nice.
Nice plug, Jackie.
It looks great.
You know me, I love my community action volunteer gig.
This is
it's a great resource, Jamie, for like the you know, municipal building to have.
Well, that's what I was just.
We have postcards, which if people were coming in, I would give to you and you can distribute them.
Well, so I don't know if you all get the mayor's weekly or a couple times a week update, the COVID update. She has a situation report that she sends out. I don't know what the distribution is, but it might be helpful to share this link with her so it gets added to their links of resources.
Yep.
And I would be happy to add it to our website, the city website, at least under the housing partnership page.
Well, it's bigger than housing too. I mean,
yeah,
it's all kinds of things.
It has a really robust COVID section right now, actually, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that would be great if the mayor wanted to put it, you know, on her page or on some page, or, in.
Well, so that's the thing is I can add it to the planning department or the housing partnership page, or, you know, maybe the Commission on Disability. But like, if in order to have like actual reach on Easthampton, I think we have, let's see, might be under, we don't have like a links of resources or anything like that, but.
Not yet, but one day.
Yeah. So maybe Jenna, or Jackie or Brad, someone wants to email the mayor to.
Done.
Done? All done? Great.
All done.
Great. Awesome.
Jackie's a great multitasker.
Thank you.
I don't think I'm good at it, but I definitely try to do it. It doesn't make me good at it. All right.
I'm glad you are working on it. So thank you.
All right. Anything else on the rental assistance program, or where we're moving along?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I threw advocacy updates on here mostly because if Kate was going to be here, sometimes she has updates on advocacy issues she wants to talk about. And anything else that
I can use, I don't have a topic for my October column yet, so I can talk about COVID and affordable housing and the moratorium, and it'll be timely.
Yes.
So if there are specific things you want me to mention, just email them to me and say in the subject line for your column, so that I don't like glaze over, because it happens with all the email.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that would be timely for October.
Yes. Agreed. Okay. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Any other updates? I can't think of anything that I have.
I have no more executive functioning left for today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't have anything. There's nothing else I have. Haven't heard much from any of the housing projects. One Ferry is plugging along, and I know there's
school building. Pat Bruff posted a new video on Easthampton Parents this morning. It is like unbelievable. I'm so excited for 2022.
This is the 3 Ferry Street building.
No, the new school, the K through 8, whatever. It's just like, sorry, it's not about housing, but it really was.
It will be about housing, because with all these new schools, we'll have more people wanting to go to school in our district.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But One Ferry looks great too. Are there occupants in that building? That one building that looks done?
I would have heard it's completely filled.
With people or businesses?
Yes.
Is he doing the workforce housing stuff? Do we know if he's applying for that?
Yeah, so that's what's in process right now. I think the first bit, the 3 Ferry Street, is all commercial, business, retail, things like that. So I don't believe that there's any housing in there. I think the subsequent buildings were going to be the housing, and I haven't been involved, but I do know that there's back and forth with the developer and the state and the city regarding the workforce housing units. I think in total they're planning for 150 units. And then I don't know maybe it was 30 workforce housing units, but I could be off by like.
It's okay, lot. It's recorded, so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that this is completely not, I don't actually know, so.
Okay.
I know that it's still in discussion, but they're working on the next building. So, and the bike path's almost, the rotary improvement's almost done.
Yep. Yeah, it looks really nice over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. All right. Well, I think we should adjourn the meet. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Great. Second.
Okay. It is 6:45.
Excellent.
All
And the
right.
next meeting is October 22nd.
Yes, and we will hopefully be talking about housing production plan.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you,
thank you.
everyone. It's good to see you again.
You too.
Likewise. Have a
Bye.
great night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.